Hello everybody, this is a video where I'm going to be reacting to a YouTube video talking about what I'm seeing and the concepts that are being talked about, and then I'll transcribe and demonstrate how to play some of these ideas. This is a video that was suggested by one of my Patreon supporters. In fact, this was his monthly video request from me. So Chris Motes, thanks so much for your support, mate. I hope you enjoy this video. It's a great video. I've seen it many times before. If anybody else would like content like this, then please do check out the link to Patreon below, and you can head on over there and support my channel, which really helps me make content, and more importantly make the content that you really want to see. So without further ado, this is a video with Joe Bonamassa talking about Danny Gatton. I'm a big Danny Gatton fan, for those of you that already know my interests. In fact, my main Telecaster that I play more than any other is this one, which has the Danny Gatton pickups in it, and I'm waiting on getting a Danny Gatton Dingus mounting plate replica made for it, which will make me even happier. Anyway, so let's check this video out. It sounds like this.
I met this guitar player named Danny Gatton, and he kind of was the first guy to really take me under his wing. I was about 11, and Danny had this really cool thing about him where he would, you know, he had this real nonchalance about him. He was a very unassuming guy. He was like my guitar teacher, you know.
Could you imagine having Danny Gatton as your guitar teacher? Oh wow.
You know, so he listened to me play. He goes like, "Son, you know something about the blues, but you don't know anything about jazz. You don't know anything about early rock and roll. Like, you know, I'm talking about like Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps." And
that's such a good point. People often think of Danny Gatton as being a country guitar player, and I don't think of Danny like that at all. I don't really think Danny has any country recordings. He has some proper jazz recordings, and he did a lot of proper jazz music, playing hollow body. Outside of that, I think of Danny as being like a rockabilly guitar player. He's got so much of that early rock and roll playing to his style. But unfortunately he ends up just getting pigeonholed as a country player because he plays a Telecaster, a Blackguard. I don't understand.
You know, the Big Bopper and Elvis Presley and stuff like that. So I'd sit in his Winnebago, you know, the nights that I would sit in with him, and like he's about to feedback. And it was like he would show me this stuff that would go. So like
that's easy lick. Obvious easy stuff that. That's just pedaling against an open E, hitting the open D and G, hammering onto the first fret G. That's that kind of organ style. Guitar's a little bit out of tune, so you'll have to excuse that. Anyway.
So like it'd be like the riff of the week club. You know, I'd see him on the weekends in DC and stuff like that. So he's like, how about this, kid? And he goes. I go back on my cassette tape and I'm like, wicked. I go home and I practice and practice and practice.
That's a really interesting idea, right? The idea of recording a lesson and having to go away and work out how to play it. I think there's a lot of value in that. I think it would be awesome if more people were doing that. But in reality now you expect your teacher to provide you with tabs and the like. So let's take a look at what he's doing there, and I'll write that lick out for you. He's kind of hitting like a G flat there, but I'm going to put a G in there just because it sounds better. We can come back to that. It's kind of like a ghost note, just to help move the lick along. Swing feel, 4/4 obviously. Just put those beams in. Click the wrong button. Okay, cool. Is he tuned down maybe? By the looks of things, he might be tuned down. I guess not, actually, because of that open example earlier. Anyway, so you've got this. Whoops. It's an open D, yeah, ignore me. This is kind of like attention to detail stuff. It's not really all that important. Actually, I think that's played there. There we go. Detail. This note would actually ring through. Ooh, whoops. Let's get a decent tempo on that. 1, 2, 3, dot. Yeah, cool.
I go back on my cassette tape and like wicked. I go home and I practice and practice and practice. I got the riff.
Slight variation in there where he goes. How's he? Cool vocabulary. I mean, we're talking like rockabilly, bluegrass type influenced vocabulary.
I got the riff. Come back the next week. He goes, okay.
I like this. Like, I've had interview experience with Bonamassa working professionally in the journalism thing, and he's got a right to have the opinion that he has of himself. He's an excellent player. And I'm not suggesting he's arrogant, but we are talking about a man that plays these gigs with, you know, on a giant carpet with his initials on, which I find hilarious. So this idea here, where he's like, almost this idea of like, oh, I go for a lesson with Danny Gatton, and Danny expects me to come back struggling, but you know, I nailed it. Oh, Joe. Let's learn it. So it's not too hard, it's just a variation on what we did before. Put in these double bar lines, just so you... Of course, I'm going to upload this tab file for my Patreon supporters. You can get access to that on my Patreon page. It's a cool little trick that I play a variation on that. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this stuff because I want you to, well, not get bored. But in terms of thinking for this is a common idea that I'll use. Let's just keep those as sharps. If I'm thinking around like an E shape, I'll think these triads on the top connecting positions. So we've got a G triad on the top, and here like a G7 triad, that's 7, 6 and 7. Now I can connect those with an A minor. I can obviously also approach so it's a cool little trick and you can play around with it. So he actually changed his chord here, he's implying a C sound. Oh, whoops. I guess you could put like a G chord in there, and then I'm just going to put a C in brackets here, just because that's kind of what I'm thinking. So it's the same phrase as before. Well, variation on what we played before. Now, I'm not sure where he goes from here, but just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking while I'm doing that. Putting the wrong notes. Because I've just played, my ear tells me I'm playing over a C, and this note wants to move up a semitone to get to the third of C. So. We'll see what Joe does. Exactly what he did. It's the thing we did earlier, but now in the key of G, so we're thinking the G chord here. It's the same thing that we played in lick 1. Just getting a message from Mark Thompson popping up there. Oh, I guess you can't see it because it's behind my camera. There's a C sharp there. So there's no outsmarting us, Joe. Okay, so there's that lick. You get the idea.
Come back and play the same thing.
Come out and play the same thing, but you played something completely different there. But what we're talking about here is we're really just talking about connecting a G and a C. Okay.
Then I think I made him mad one day.
How did you make Danny Gatton mad?
Because I was like, it's like, you know, I was like at that point in time I was probably the most balanced kid in show business because I had chips on both shoulders, you know? And he goes, ah.
We'll come back.
My double stops are bad. I'm literally 9 shows in 11 days. I wore my nails off, so I'm a little sloppy today. I don't charge for the mistakes. So I was like,
the funny thing about that is I'm pretty sure that is a Danny Gatton joke. I don't charge for mistakes.
I was like,
no charge for mistakes.
I was like, I'm gonna do that. I worked and 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 worked, and I.
Again, we'll go back and do the Danny example because I think that was a bit cleaner.
So
we'll do some of the Danny thing.
That was my relationship with Danny Gatton. Then he let me sit in with him at the place he was playing, and that was like he's like my guitar teacher. But he was just my friend Danny, and you never really, you don't realize how lucky I was. I didn't realize how lucky I was until ultimately, he was dead and gone, and I miss him a lot because, there's been several people in my life that have been really super influential. I mean, one guy, Danny Gatton, I just mentioned, another guy's named Tom Dow. And Tom, for those who don't know him, he was one of the founding members of Atlantic Records, produced everything from Otis Redding Blue to every Allman Brothers record to Disrated Gears and all that kind of stuff. Layla. How do you feel Layla?
Okay. Let's go back and do that transcription. So if you're wanting to explore more Danny Gatton, outside of his fantastic recordings, outside of his fantastic recordings, and like I say, my favourites would be, I really like it when he played with Buddy Emmons, so the Redneck Jazz stuff. You've got the studio album Redneck Jazz. And then there's the 2 live albums, Redneck Jazz Explosion 1 and 2. They're probably my favourites. But he did a great album called Relentless, which is him and Joey on keyboards, on organ. Joey DeFrancesco. Am I saying that right? Probably not. That's great. There is a New York Jazz album. Why is the name of it escaping me? I'm not great with album names anymore, evidently. and then you can go for his more well-known recordings, 88 Elmira Street, and again, I can see the Cruising Deuces. Yeah, they're cool, but I definitely prefer that rawer, jazzier, earlier sound. So there's that, and of course there's the Danny Gatton biography, Unfinished Business. It's in my library, which is an interesting read, very interesting read. And they are working on a film about Danny's life at the moment, which will be interesting. So let's break some of this down and see what we've got going on. So it's the same thing but up an octave, right? He's kind of hitting ghost notes in there, but let's not worry too much about those. So again, it's the exact same thing as before. So it's again the same phrase, which gives you a real idea of the cage system, because he's playing around this chord form, and when we do that, we're in the G shape. He'll move down to A. Now that's the same basic thing that he did in C. Oops. Now the chord changes here. Well, I guess that's still kind of G. It's just a flat 5 in there. Now that's definitely D. So again, same phrase. I'm not paying too much attention to detail in this. This isn't really about imitating exactly what is being played here. It's about the lesson that you can learn from what's been played. Hear that phrase again? I'm going to cut this off in a minute. This is how I do this. Let's leave it there. Because I'm a cocktease like that, and it's been half an hour. Hopefully you've enjoyed that though. So just to review, we've got this. That would ring. You get the idea though. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and big thanks to Chris. It was Chris, I believe, that ordered this. It was Chris, yeah. So thanks again, Chris. And as always, if you have enjoyed these videos, please do hit the like, share, subscribe button, and check out my Patreon. It's going to be an announcement now for my Patreon buddies, just letting you know who's supporting these videos, because I really appreciate their help. Thanks very much, guys. I will see you again soon. Peace out. Bye. And here's that list of fantastically generous gentlemen that support this channel at the $10 or more tier over on my Patreon account. Guys, thanks so much for your support. It is really actually helping me to create lots of content and encouraging me to keep bringing you better and better things. Hope you guys are as happy as I am, and if anyone else would like to join this list, head on over to my Patreon page. You'll find a link in the description below. Cheers!